It is a wonderful day here at Real Talk Media Studios because I have Ann Schreiber joining me today. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, May.
It's wonderful having you. So, you are very busy, obviously, buyer side and seller side. How do you get an offer accepted in this crazy market right now?
So, well, all the agents on my team are masterful at getting offers accepted, is really the truth. I primarily work on the listing side, but what's great about that is I get to see how offers. So when you're faced with 10 offers, right? There's a lot of different things that you start to learn about how offers are presented, how they're sent, how the agent follows up on those offers, and what clients do in response to the information you give to the agents. Because ultimately, it's the buyer and seller making all of these decisions, and they're influenced and guided by agents, right?
Right.
We don't make the decisions.
Right.
Buyers and sellers make the decisions. But the very first thing I would say is that a lot can be understood about how a transaction is going to go based on how the offer is presented and written. So, and not that we're all human beings and like we're working at the speed of sound and light right now.
Literally.
I mean, it's really, you're trying to make things happen super fast and sometimes really late at night. But like if you're seeing multiple errors on a purchase contract, or the agent sending you 1Z, 2Z, 3Z, 4Z emails and not taking the time to package it all up together and make it easy for you, that's really, I would say, the first thing, especially for agents. If an agent is watching this, is like, make it easy for the listing agent. Obviously, there's a lot of challenge that goes along with being a buyer's agent right now because it's so competitive. Mm-hmm. But when you have a listing, it is more than a full-time job for a span of 7 to 10 days where you eat, sleep, breathe, phone calls, text messages. You are in a barrage of people coming at you and trying to get them information so that they can be successful and support their clients. So if you're getting an agent that's sending you a purchase contract and 2 hours later a pre-approval letter and 5 hours later proof of funds, you're searching through 900 emails trying to find all these different things. So that's what I would say first, is the agent needs to be organized and needs to understand the purchase contract and how to write it. That's number one.
Okay.
The second thing that I see is the relationship between the buyer's agent and the buyer needs to be very stable and built completely inside of trust. There's a lot of what I think is misconception about real estate. People watch real estate shows, or it seems like most people think that all agents are just running around lying to everyone. I'm not kidding. Like, there's just a lot of like, oh, you're doing this to drive prices up, or whatever
the game plan,
the drunk monkey is,
right,
in the buyer's minds, right? Because they've been jammed. This is a hard market to operate in. So if the buyer trusts the buyer's agent, like really trust the buyer's agent, and that relationship is really stable, they're going to succeed. They're going to succeed much faster than if they're jumping around trying to find different agents to help them. Because if the buyers trust the buyer's agent, when the buyer's agent gets information from the listing agent, what do we need to do to compete? Where do we need to be? What else are you looking at? And they relay that back to the buyer. They're going to take that
and trust.
And trust it,
right?
And then take the actions that they're willing to take, right? Like, right. Sometimes they can't go to the price, or they're not willing to lift all contingencies. I mean, we're getting offers $150,000, $200,000 over asking with no contingencies,
all removed.
And that's scary,
very
right?
Scary.
And so you have to have an agent that can walk you through, what does this mean? If I take this risk, what does that mean? And what do I need to know ahead of time? And what can we ask for? If they're going to ask me to release all contingencies, you want a buyer's agent that's going to say, well, let's get all of the disclosures right now. Let's not wait. Or maybe we wait so that we actually have 5 days right of rescission. Like, there's all these different ways you can still operate and keep your buyers safe in a market that's this aggressive. And when you have an agent that you trust that knows all those ins and outs, then you're willing to take those extra little steps of risk. Right?
Right.
Because it's transparent. You know what the risk is. You know what the reward of every single move that you make. So that's what I would say. A really organized agent that knows the market. Number two, a really trusting relationship between buyers and buyer's agent. And then the buyer's agent needs to be assertive. with the listing agent, respectful but assertive,
Right.
right? What do we need? Never stop.
Right. Keep that communication open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And that's one thing I would say the agents on my team are like, they're really, really assertive.
And that's
I would want to say honey badger, but that would come across the wrong way. But they know how to figure out the personality type of the person they're in front of, whether it's the buyer or the listing agent, and to operate inside that person's model of the world so that, if they're dealing with a listing agent that's a driver and, they're not going to call and say, how's your day? And how's this? And how's that? They're going to go bullet points so that they're respectful of time, but still advocating for their client.
And that is the type of agent that a buyer needs.
Yeah,
100% in this market.
Yeah, you want an agent that a listing agent is going to like.
100%.
Because if the buyer's agent's driving the listing agent nuts, they're like, I've got a choice of 9 other people I can do business with.
Right.
Right. So that's really, really important, is being able to read off the person you're in front of, especially between the buyer's agent and listing agent. And I don't want to describe this like as a nepotism type of thing, because that isn't what it is. It's really understanding, like, how can you align yourself with this person to be sure they understand how to do business, and that you are informing your clients and they know what they're getting into. If they're going to lift their appraisal contingency, do they even know what that means?
Right.
Are you going to be in a big mess in the middle of a transaction because this agent, has no idea what that means, but they're telling their client to do it because it was in the counter?
Right. Oh, yeah. Goodness. Thank you so much for your fantastic opinions.
You're welcome.
That's very valued in this market today. So I appreciate you joining us at Real Talk Media Studios.
You're welcome.